Hello. Bathandi be football, bathandi be diski. How are you, football lovers? Are you guys good? I'm good, guys. I hope you guys are well. Okay, guys, welcome to the platform Total Football. And today we are talking this controversial subject, right? Controversial subject that involves Tso Vilakazi and Rele Mofokeng, right? I think you guys have seen, right? I think you guys have seen the video. Actually, it was an interview that was done, right? By Itiski TV, right? The post-match interview, post-match analysis on the Itiski TV that was conducted by Nkululeko Nkeu, who was talking to the Itiski TV analyst Tso Vilakazi. Those who do not know who's Tso Vilakazi, he's a former Orlando Pirates attacking midfielder, right? Actually, currently holds the record for most goals scored by Orlando Pirates player, right? He's currently the leading goal scorer in the history of Orlando Pirates with around 58 goals, if I'm not mistaken, right? And remember, he scored all those goals as an attacking midfielder or as a second striker, because he played most of his time at Orlando Pirates as an attacking midfielder, second striker, right? Yeah, just playing behind the striker, meaning a number 10, a modern number 10 now, right? So during that post-match interview or review, right? Nkululeko Nkeu asked Tso Vilakazi that, does he believe that at 20 years old, right, he was better than Rele Mofokeng? Of course, you know Rele Mofokeng is currently 20 years old. So Nkululeko Nkeu was asking Tso Vilakazi to compare the 20-year-old Tso Vilakazi and the 20-year-old Rele Mofokeng. Right. So, of course, then Tso responding to that question, Tso Vilakazi says, of course, he was better than Rele Mofokeng. He's saying the 20-year-old Tso Vilakazi is better than Rele Mofokeng. He goes on to mention that at 20 years old, was already captaining the national under-20 team. He says he was captaining the national under-23. He was a leading figure in the Orlando Pirates and all of that, right? That's what he's saying, Tso Vilakazi, right? But now let's look in terms of the position that the both players are playing, the position that Tso Vilakazi played, and the position that is currently being played by Rele Mofokeng. And of course, there's no taking away from the fact that Tso Vilakazi is indeed an Orlando Pirates legend, right? Because for the fact that as a midfielder, he holds the record for the most goals scored in the Orlando Pirates jersey. That on its own, right? I mean, that on its own, right, says a mouthful, right? So no one should attempt, right? No one should attempt to take away the fact that indeed Tso Vilakazi is a Orlando Pirates legend. Right? Let's get that one out of the way, right? So, but we then look in terms of the comparisons. Tso Vilakazi, I've already said, was playing as a second striker, was playing as an attacking midfielder behind the striker, right? Behind the striker. And also look in terms of his profile. Tso Vilakazi was not necessarily the type of a midfielder that was skillful, that would take on players and all of that, right? He was the type of the midfielder that was quick, that was good playing off the ball, right? He always knew how to position himself, right? That the times the defenders would forget about him, right? So he was so good off the ball. That's what made him so dangerous and ensured that he scored so many goals. So then you look at Rele Mofokeng. Rele Mofokeng is currently not playing as a number 10 behind the striker. He's playing as a winger, drifting in, right? Drifting in to join numbers in the box and all of that. But he's not necessarily the type of a player who stays central, like Tso Vilakazi used to do, right? And again, must keep in mind that we are talking about the 20-year-old Tso Vilakazi here, right? We're not talking about the 21, 22-year-old Tso Vilakazi. We're talking about the 20-year-old. So when when he says he captained the under 23 at 20 years old, I don't remember Tso Vilakazi captaining the under 23. Because I remember he played in that generation of Steven Pienaar, Joseph Makanya, Ryan Botha, right? Babuti Kenyeza, right? Okay, but let's leave that one. So I'm talking about the profile of the players here. So in that generation of Tso Vilakazi, you'd compare Rele Mofokeng to the likes of Gift Leremi, right? Who used to start the match on the wing, right? But as the match progresses, also the dynamics of the match unfolds, will drift into the infield, become a number 10 and all of that, add numbers, right? So I think it's an unfair comparison to compare the two players when you look in terms of the profiles, right? Then it comes to something else now. So I'd say again, Tso Vilakazi, him responding the way he responded to that question, showed lack of emotional intelligence from his side. Because we've seen quite a number of these ex-footballers, right, so-called legends, right, saying things that crushes these young players. Started with Jomo Sono about Munapuli Saleh, then Jomo Sono went on about Patrick Maswanganyi, saying comparing Maswanganyi and him is comparing an elephant to an ant and all those sort of things. Despite the fact that the boy Patrick Maswanganyi never compared himself to Jomo Sono and all of that. And we saw in that Ololo Paris documentary, Maswanganyi was talking about that it didn't sit well with him and all of that. So Tso Vilakazi lacked emotional intelligence when he responded to that question. He should have thought about how will this land to Rele Mofokeng when he says that. Leave the fact that he was responding to a question that was asked by Nkululeko Nkwe. Of course, Nkululeko Nkwe was trying to drive a headline. Nkululeko Nkwe was merely trying to craft a headline that would drive traffic to his site, platform being Itiski TV, right? So that's why Nkululeko Nkwe did what he did. So Tso Vilakazi should have displayed emotional intelligence by refusing to answer that question in that particular fashion. You could have just said that you cannot compare two eras. These are two different eras and two different players in terms of their profiles and all of that. But because some of these players, including Tso Vilakazi, they've got this entitlement, as if the clubs or the football owes them something, to an extent that they're starting to feel like these young boys are replacing them in the history of the club, right? So hence they now feel it necessary for them to bash these young players and say all sorts of things about these young players. Unprovoked. You see. And again, while still this topic, on Twitter, I saw Coach Siamaloka was responding to a question that someone posted on Twitter about the very same thing, that was it necessary for Tso Vilakazi to be saying the things that he said about Rele Mofokeng and all of that. Then this Coach Siamaloka said over the weekend there was a match of Pele Pele, which is the Orlando Pirates feeder team, that was playing, and Tso Vilakazi was there on the field and all of that. And he says the things that Tso Vilakazi says about Ivan Khoza's sons and the club at the hierarchy, tells that actually this is a personal thing for Tso Vilakazi. So you're having someone who's supposed to be a matured elder, right, is fighting the club for whatever issues that he has with the club. He's dragging these young players, the likes of Rele Mofokeng and all of that, into his personal battles and all of that. It reeks of jealous and all of that. Because, of course, these guys are no longer getting the attention, the media attention that they used to get. Because they are addicted to this thing. So when these young players are getting that attention now, that attention has moved to, and the spotlight has moved to these young players. Now we've got these legends who now all of a sudden feel threatened by these young players. So I personally condemn how Tso Vilakazi reacted to that question. He should have dismissed that question by Nkululeko, because Nkululeko was merely trying to drive controversy there. That's my take on it. Do you guys think what Tso Vilakazi is correct to respond the way he responded to that question or not? Or do you agree with me? Let me hear in the comment section below. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the platform, guys. Let's grow the platform. Ngiyabonga.